The difference in sort of pace, speed, intensity from the playoffs compared to the regular season, I think everybody agrees it's fairly notable. What allows Evander Kane to miss an entire regular season and kind of step onto that moving train and be able to handle that pace?
Well, I think there's a couple factors. One, he's an extremely gifted athlete. He's very strong, fast, powerful. He has an upper hand on that area of the game on most players. The other one is, he likes the competition. He likes the level of intensity, and the game means more at this time of the year. He rises to that occasion where you see other guys maybe wilt, but he likes the competitiveness and the type of game. And also, you mentioned the game changes. It changes more to what fits his style. More physicality, harder to get to the net. There's more battles, more hits. So those are all attributes that he's good at.
What's the dynamic between you and him in terms of, like, I imagine he's a guy that just wants to go all the time. And I mean, you check in with him, see how he's doing. What does he kind of give back to you? What do you get from him?
Evander's obviously, like every elite player, wants to be on the ice as much as they can. They want to help the team, but I think also he understands what we have here and wanting to, have the start of this when he's coming back. He obviously felt if I would have trust in him. Just with after a long injury, and we've got a team that's had a lot of success, but when we started, it was, well, let's see where you are and let's roll from that. And right from the start, he has exceeded expectations of. It's hard to sit out a whole year and come into the playoffs against, LA Kings, are a good team, and come and contribute and play well right away. And he did. And, we've been able to give him more responsibilities. And obviously the special teams, that's where you really excel, or that's where your ice time really takes off. And right now, he's on the second unit power play, but that's minimal considering how much our first unit power play takes up.
Kris, just wanted to ask you about the importance of trying to close this thing out. You don't want this to extend further than it needs to be. You've done a good job in the past. When you had Dallas, you closed them out. You closed out LA in the last round. Just maybe a thought on how important this game is to try and finish them off and don't give them any life.
I don't think we're looking at how many games left we have in the series, and it's a one-game mentality. Whether we lost Game 3 the way we did, it was forget about it, let's move on to the next one. Obviously there's a lot of benefits of winning that next game. One, you don't give that opportunity for Vegas to put together a string of wins, and then also the ability to have some downtime. Guys can rest and not add on the bumps and bruises through the playoff season as it goes. Like, guys get banged up, and it's a physical game, as we've talked about. But I think it's right now. It's that's an extra benefit, but just not allowing Vegas that opportunity to get back. The opportunity for them to win a few games.
Hey, Kris, their season's on the line, obviously. Tomorrow they're at home. Kind of could assume that they're going to come out a desperate team early on in the game. You spend any time with your team before tomorrow's game kind of talking about that and how to counter that, I suppose?
No, we won't have any meetings today. Today's a travel day. Players who need treatment come in or get a light workout, whatever, it's on their accord that if they want to come in here. But I think with the playoffs, playing every second day, and most days a lot of times we do have meetings. Like on our off day between games 3 and 4, we did have a meeting. But I think if you do that every single day, it gets a little monotonous and the message maybe not be clear the next time you have a meeting. So as a coach, you can only do so much. You don't want to overcoach. So I think today's a good day for the guys to step away, enjoy the win last night, and tomorrow they'll get the message of what we need to do. Obviously, the coaching staff, we get together, we'll be talking about the game. We'll talk about what went well, what didn't go well. What do you think Vegas is going to counter, and how do you think they're going to approach the next game? So, we'll have those discussions so we're prepared to send the message to the players.
And any update on Calvin Pickard and Matthias Ekholm? I know we haven't asked you about Ekholm for a bit.
Yeah, Matthias he's been on the ice, very light skates. He will not be joining us this series. We're hopeful that he can join us next series if we're able to get to that. But and then Calvin's just, again, he's day to day.
Hi, Kris. When the trade was done with the San Jose Sharks, you knew that you were getting a good deal with Jake Wallman, but how good of a fit is Wallman for your team?
When we made that trade, we wanted versatility. We added a couple pieces, Trent Frederick being another guy, and Wallman another one, where just you never know in the playoffs with injuries, and you need versatility. And we saw that last year when through the playoffs, through our series, and guys in and out of the lineup and different roles. And Frederick and Wallman are very similar with the versatility of them. Like when you asked me about Wallman, well, Wallman's can kill penalties. He can be on the power play. He can play on the left side, right side. There's a lot of versatility, and we've been using him in all those situations. So, and then also, you look at his play and his the plus minus the playoffs. He's obviously bringing a lot to our team. And when we're looking for a fit, yes, we wanted versatility, but we also wanted somebody that fit our team. And what was good, and we felt our team is, we're good at moving the puck, and we've got some offensive players, and we just don't want to be a chip and chase off the glass, go and chase it down. We want somebody who makes a good first pass so our forwards can generate some offense. And, he's been doing a lot of that. And, one unexpected thing that we found out about him is, the competitive side of it and how many block shots he's had. So he's been doing a lot of good things for our team. And, I don't think we'd be in this position if we hadn't added a guy like Wallman, Klingberg to add to our defense, especially when we're missing Ekholm during this time.
Hey, Kris. I think resilience is one word that comes to mind when thinking of your team this playoffs. But can you just speak to how adaptable your team is? Whether that be lineup changes throughout the game or inserting guys like Stetcher and Kapanen last game, and how beneficial for you as a coach that is during playoffs.
Obviously, having a lot of good players in our lineup, my disposal to use them how I want is a really good advantage for our team. And we saw it last year, guys in and out of the lineup. This year, it's been pretty constant lineup that we've had up until last night, where we made a couple changes, not because of injury, but just because we felt our team needed another element. We got two guys that have been playing the majority of the games throughout the season, and we feel very highly of them. We regard them as key players, and they hadn't really contributed much through the playoffs just because they hadn't been in the lineup very much. And to add Stetcher and Kapanen to our game, here's a couple guys who haven't played for a few weeks, and they're raring to go. Like, they are itching, and they are the intensity is there, and we felt that we needed some of that going into the game, especially after the way we lost Game 3, and they absolutely did not disappoint. And Stetcher, being a defenseman, you want a little more reliability. That from your defenseman, you don't want him running around chasing, getting out of position, and he gave us some really good minutes and made some nice plays. But I want to talk about Kapanen. You look at his first couple shifts and his skating, and you can see the speed, and he's one of the best skaters in the NHL, but he's also one of the most powerful. Like, he's a strong person, and he had 3 hits, I believe, in his first 2 shifts, and some big hard hits. So it really set the tone for our team, and also gives our guys some energy.
Maybe along those lines, you had a lot of injuries late in the season, so you played a lot of these players, a lot. Guys that you now have at your disposal and can choose from when you need guys. Do you feel like you got a really good handle on who's capable of what because you got to see so much of them late?
I definitely do now. Like, when we started the first couple games in LA, I was I didn't know what to get. Like, I didn't know who's going to play well together. You know, we added Trent Frederick, who we have a lot of respect for, hadn't played, 6 or 7 minutes for us. Who's he going to play with? What kind of player is he? You know, you have some kind of idea, but you don't know until he's on your bench. And then, then the other guys who were out, you obviously know what McDavid's going to give you, what Dreisaitl's and Zach Hyman's. But, you think about some of the other guys who really stepped up with that absence of players. We needed some guys. And, the one guy that comes to mind is Janmark. And Janmark has been playing some really good hockey for us. We saw him last year step up in the playoffs and play some good games, but he's taken it even another level. And you look at the end of the season without McDavid, without Draisaitl, there's a lot of games where he was our second-line centerman and, building his game. And he's not a centerman up until the end of this year, and he's been really good at it. And right now we've been using him, in that role, and we saw in the LA series how we were able to roll those 4 lines. Well, that Janmark line was able to play against LA's top line just because of, how comfortable I am with him. So, and there's many other guys who needed that time or use that time to really get confidence and step up their game. And, Connor Brown's another one at the end of the season, was playing really well, and you see it carry over into the playoffs.
Kris, with the way that Stuart Skinner performed last night, how does that impact the rest of the group, seeing the way that he stepped up in the manner that he did last night?
Oh, it's nice. Anytime you're a goalie, it's not that we're ever going to change how we play, no matter who's playing. And if that goalie's had a bad game the night before or not, whatever, we're still have the same mindset of how we're going to play. I think everyone was really excited about him having that game because obviously things had not gone as well as, or for him. He's not played as well, but more importantly, I don't think our team had played as well as they should have in front of him and put him in some bad situations. So last night, I do believe our team played a really good game in front of him. We did have some breakdowns. And those breakdowns aren't as evident when your goalie makes some big saves. And Stuart made some big saves for us, especially early in the game when there were some times when Vegas had the opportunity to get back in the game. And on their power play would be a couple times come to mind. But, it's nice to Stuart get that because obviously he has a lot of pride. He puts pressure on himself to have success. And it was nice to see him get that shutout the other night.
Kris, I'm going to pivot a little bit here. We know after a win, the dressing room always has a song that they like to play after a win, and the Oilers have seemingly chosen Pink Pony Club. So I want to get your thoughts on, who picks it? How does the team decide on the win song?
That is, you'd have to ask one of the players or Brad Harrison. Brad runs the music. Usually before the games, I don't think he'd have picking that song after the game. Maybe he did. I'm not sure, but that'd be more of a question for the players. So,
do you, like yesterday, a lot of fans into it. They're singing along. You got like the songs that they're doing karaoke to. Do you guys hear that? Do you guys feed off of that?
We do, and we are very fortunate. And I've only had the experience of being in a NHL rink for a handful of organizations. Obviously the playoffs last year, there's 4 teams. On the East Coast when I lived out there, I've been on to a couple playoffs there. But the atmosphere in Edmonton is unbelievable, and it starts with in the afternoon and seeing what's going on around the rink or downtown or even away from downtown, seeing everybody in their jerseys and shirts and the Oiler flags waving off cars and houses and stuff like that. And then when you get in the building, it's electric right from the national anthems and the crowd getting into it and everyone's the costumes and how everyone's dressed up, and then you get here the atmosphere and the cheering and you hear how loud it is, and then it tops off with the songs and the crowd getting involved and singing. And I remember last year, there was a couple of moments where I remember that, and one was the game where we beat Florida 8-1, I believe the score was, and I remember just how much what a good atmosphere it was, and everyone was just having so much fun, and there was no anxiety, there was no stress. It was just, let's have fun with this win right now, because we're not even worried about who scores the next goal. We're in a position to win this game. Tonight would not, obviously it wasn't as like that, but hearing the crowd get involved and have as much fun and enjoy, I guess, the game the players are playing and performed that night. It's a great atmosphere in our rink.
Have you ever caught yourself like, oh, wait, don't sing along with the song, even though you want to?
I am to myself. I guess I'm trying not to sing out loud because I'd ruin everybody's good feeling. But absolutely, I really enjoy it.
I got a stat here from NHL about Victor Arvidsson recorded the second fastest speed, I guess, in Game 3. And I just want to ask you about, I'm not sure if you'll get in the lineup tomorrow, but just about having a guy like that with speed and how he's played, and having a guy that can get on the forecheck, and how does that help your team?
Yeah, no, Victor's played really well. And take him out of the lineup. Usually when you take somebody out of the lineup, they played poorly. They're not giving you something. That's not the case at all. I like Victor's game and been putting up some really important goals at key times with his line. A couple in the LA series, game 5 and 6, I believe, and then even the start of the Vegas series. That line had been playing well for us. We just needed a change. We needed to add something else to our lineup and play a little bit differently. Captain's obviously a bit bigger and stronger, and just with what we were trying to do, somebody had to come out, and it was a very difficult decision. And with what we have, power play, penalty kill guys, physicality, scoring, unfortunately, he was the guy that had to come out. But I know it's going to be a short-term thing. Whether it's this series, next game, whatever it is, we'll be seeing Victor Arvidsson again. So, I really appreciate what he brings to this team, especially in the playoffs, how well he's played and come up clutch with some nice, some offense. But, we just, like I said, we have a lot of good players around our team.